Thank you, Chris. One apology I am aware of is from Kate, one of our directors. She's just sent her apologies.
Thank you.
So, good morning, everybody. My name is Liz Hancock. Today's meeting is scheduled to run from 10:30 to 11:30, and the agenda can be seen quite small on the screen, but it's also available in the chat function if you haven't received it before. You may wish to concentrate your view on the active speaker by using the speaker view option. This can usually be found in the view at the top right of your screen, but I'm aware that people's screens and setups are slightly different. Can I please also ask you, in order to help reduce background noise, to put your microphones on mute? You will note we've got a couple of opportunities on the agenda for you to comment or ask questions. You can also type your question in the chat function, and a member of the Healthwatch team will pick this up. So, as Chair of Healthwatch Warwickshire, I'm very pleased to present to you the annual report for 2023-24. Copies of the report are available via our website or on request, if you haven't already had sight of it. We've seen a few changes at Healthwatch Warwickshire during the year. One of our long-standing and valued directors, Geeta Patel, recently stood down from the board. Whilst Geeta will be sadly missed, we were pleased to welcome Jane Bryan as a new member of our board of directors. We said thank you and farewell to Carla and wish her well in her new role at Birmingham University. And we then welcomed to the team Shabina as our engagement and outreach officer for the north of the county. And also congratulations to Shabina for recently completing her master's, where she was awarded a distinction. So, every quarter, Healthwatch Warwickshire receives more than 1,000 pieces of feedback, and over 7,000 people visit our website. Our October newsletter was sent to just over 1,100 people, and our engagement and outreach officers reach a staggering 151,000 people. Throughout the year, we've produced many reports, including Enter and View, and these can be found on our website. This year's surveys have included the Menopause Survey, which was led by Caroline, and ran from November 23 to January 24. This included an event for men in partnership with Action Menopause Warwickshire, and our findings have been fed into Warwickshire County Council's Menopause Task and Finish Group, and we've reported back to Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Vina and Deb have been working on the dental survey. These have so far taken place in Rugby and Warwick District. The Warwick District survey heard from 158 people who told us about 259 children's dental care experiences across the area. 27 responses indicated that a child or children neither go regularly nor occasionally to the dentist. We have also heard about the variation of practices at different dentists. We have received a good response to our report from NHS England dental commissioners, and the next move will be to extend the survey to the Stratford district. Pharmacy surveys have been carried out in Rugby, South Warwickshire and Warwickshire North. The findings have already been promoted on a place basis and will shortly be combined into a single report on our website. We have and are reporting to Overview and Scrutiny Committees, Health and Wellbeing Board and the Integrated Care Board. Later on the agenda, Chris will talk more about pharmacy in Warwickshire. Our Veterans Survey ran from January 24 to August 24. The report, which is available on our website, has been used to influence Warwickshire County Council and primary care. Healthwatch Warwickshire has also signed up to the Armed Forces Covenant. We work closely with local universities, and this year these have included TRACE, which stands for Tracing Resources Allocation and the Contribution of Evidence, and that was with University of Birmingham. PIPER, which is Pathways to Implementation for Public Engagement in Research, and this is a national piece of work with multiple collaborators. I'm not sure how to say the next one. It's Engage for GPNet, and that was with Warwickshire University. And RESPECT, which stands for Recommending Summary Plan for Care for emergency care and treatment, which is another piece of national work with multiple collaborators. As you can see, it's been a very busy and productive year. At Healthwatch, we talk a lot about listening, and in fact, our website says, we're here to listen to the issues that really matter to the people in Warwickshire, to hear about their experiences of using local health and social care services. It's an interesting fact that listening is different from hearing. Hearing refers to the sound that enters your ears, and it is a physical process that, for most people, happens automatically. Listening, however, requires more than that. It requires focus and concentrated effort. Listening means paying attention, not only to the story, but how it is told, the use of language and voice, and how the other person uses their body, both verbal and non-verbal messages. It is also includes listening to the written word, to ensuring the intent of the written word is understood. At Healthwatch Warwickshire, our staff are there to listen, and they do this by paying attention, providing feedback, deferring judgment, gaining genuine insight, and responding appropriately. Listening is one of the most important skills our staff has, and volunteers, as how well they listen has a major impact on the effectiveness of the work Healthwatch Warwickshire does, and the quality of the relationships we can build. To act on the insights gathered and to have a genuine impact and to consequently see real change. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Chris, the staff and volunteer team, and Healthwatch Warwickshire's Board of Directors for everything they do to listen to the voice of local people, to obtain information, to understand, to learn, and to accurately inform others. I think we're actually quite good at listening. So that's the end of my report. I'm now going to move on to item 3, which is the financial report. And on behalf of Mike Flaxman, who has offered his apologies for today's meeting, I'm pleased to present the financial report annual accounts for 23-24. To carry out our work, we are funded by Warwickshire County Council. Following successful tender in 2023 for the Warwickshire Health contract, we were awarded a 5-year fixed-term contract at £243,939, I should say, otherwise it doesn't sound very much, does it? Each year. This is reflected in the audited outturn in the annual report. Our contract now runs until October 2028 and may be extended for a further 2 years. In the financial year 23-24, we received £4,392 additional income from other sources, our total income being £248,331. We spent £250,967 and overspent by £2,636, which was funded from our own reserves. Going forward, we have funded all the posts in our organisational structure and filled our vacancies. We will discuss with Warwickshire County Council possible inflation funding for staff pay and other costs. We will continue to use our reserves in 24-25 to fund priority projects and surveys. This ends Mike's report. On behalf of everyone at Healthwatch Warwickshire, I'd like to record our thanks to Mike, not only for his report, but also for his dedication and hard work during the last 10 years plus. I'm now going to move on to item 4, which is the appointment of auditors. And we would like to propose the reappointment of Michael Harwood and Company as our auditors. And I'm just wondering if there is a proposer and seconder for that item. If I just have a show of hands. Thank you, Robin. And a seconder at all?
I don't mind seconding.
Thank you, Jerry. Right. So we're now moving on to item 5, which is questions arising from anything that you've heard so far. But equally, you may want to save those questions until our Q&A section under item 8. Are there any questions either in the chat or that anyone would like to raise at this time? I can't see any show of hands. Is there anything that you can see, Chris?
No, I can't see anything, Chair.
Thank you. On that note, then, I will hand over to your good self, Chris, for the item on pharmacy in Warwickshire. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. We've been doing or hearing a lot about the difficulties people are having in accessing pharmacy and getting the service that they need. So we decided that what we would do is to investigate a bit further and to go around each of the places to see if the experience of accessing pharmacy was the same across the county and what the key issues were that people were finding when they were beginning to look at accessing pharmacy. We covered community pharmacy and hospital pharmacy in the work that we did, because we were aware that those two things are very different. And what we've done is to prepare a final report, which Liz referred to a bit earlier. And I've done Deb has very kindly done a very quick summary of that final report for me. But the report itself will, I think, shortly be available on our website anyway. But I'll go through it now. Can we see the report?
Yes, that's good.
Right, thank you. So the survey was done between May and September of this year. We started off in May by conducting the survey in Rugby. We then moved on to South Warwickshire and finished off in Warwickshire North. And we had 842 Warwickshire residents, and they're still trickling in these responses. But at the time of writing, we had 842 Warwickshire residents who shared their experience of using pharmacies. And as it says on that slide, the individual pharmacy reports for each of the three places, Warwickshire North, Rugby and South Warwickshire, are available on our website, and you can actually go and access them. So the number of survey responses by Warwickshire Place, we got the greatest number from South Warwickshire, which is actually normal for one of our surveys. They have a larger population. Rugby Borough were actually very responsive in respect of, even though they are the smallest area, they were very responsive in terms of pharmacy, and we'll go on to look at some of the reasons why that might be. And then Warwickshire North actually also responded fairly well. So in terms of the things that people identified when we looked at it, almost 2/3 of people told us about delays in medication. And the reason behind that appears to be a lack of stock was the most common reason for delays in people receiving their medication. And some people told us about having to source alternative medications for themselves. Which gave us, I think, some cause for concern. 200 people, a quarter of people, told us they don't use technology to help order medication or to communicate with pharmacies. And the reasons that people gave for not using technology are identified there. I do sympathise with the frustration when using technology. I do sympathise with that one. And I do prefer face-to-face communication myself. A fifth of people told us that they don't actually visit the pharmacy themselves to collect medication. Majority have it delivered by their pharmacy, and this service appears to be very highly valued. And only 2% of people told us that the closure of prescription ordering direct, the POD service, will negatively affect them, saying that telephone queues to speak to the GP surgery were causing them a problem. So that's the background to the report. That's the introduction to it. Turning now, we looked first of all at community pharmacies. And this is an interesting one because nationally, we've lost 1,200 community pharmacies in the last year. So we are aware that community pharmacy is a sector that is under pressure. So we looked at community pharmacies first, and most people say they always visit the same pharmacy. So when that pharmacy closes, that causes a particular problem for the people who use that. And people told us that the location, convenience, availability of stock, opening hours, and customer service were key reasons why they tended to visit the same pharmacy over and over again. There's an issue of trust and knowing the staff who work there. Whilst we were talking about community pharmacy, we did want to ask about Pharmacy First. Now, Pharmacy First is the initiative introduced by NHS England, whereby people who are experiencing a range of common conditions could get referred to a pharmacist by their GP practice. And those people would be given quicker treatment for their conditions under Pharmacy First. Only half of people said they were even aware of Pharmacy First. And 13% of people, 106 people, asked for the pharmacist for advice about one of the 7 conditions that are part of Pharmacy First. So those numbers are still fairly low. Now, we're not quite sure about the reasons for that. It may well be it simply hasn't been promoted sufficiently well, or it could be that the GP practices have not sufficiently engaged with it. But when people did get into their community pharmacy, their experiences were by and large reasonably okay. People said they were either very satisfied or satisfied. Most people said they were in Warwick District, in Stratford District, Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough, and North Warwickshire Borough. And the exception was Rugby Borough, where there did appear to be a difference in the experiences that people had accessing pharmacy in Rugby. Rugby, actually, we are aware that there are a number of issues affecting health and social care in Rugby. And in fact, we held a special event in Rugby in November last year to explore some of the issues about health and social care in Rugby, because there did appear to be some particular problems in that borough. So that was community pharmacy. A lot of people then told us that they actually use hospital pharmacy, so we had a quick look at that. And these are the results that we found. And there appears to be fairly high, by these standards, negative experiences in Swift, in South Warwickshire Hospital in Warwick, University Hospitals in Coventry, the Walsgrave site, and in the George Eliot. There did appear to be a majority of people who said their experiences were negative in those areas. The ones that did slightly better were probably the smaller ones at St Cross and at Stratford Hospital. So it did vary quite a bit between hospitals. 45% of people, almost half of people who told us that they used hospital pharmacies, mentioned waiting times as being an issue for them. And I'm sure that many people will sympathise with that. But also needing to travel to a hospital pharmacy for medication, and then you've got a problem with parking and the cost of parking and waiting times and all those sorts of things. So there are a number of reasons behind the negative experiences that people had had. Having said all of that, over a third of people shared very positive comments and had nothing but praise for hospital pharmacy staff. So it is a mixed picture, but there are clearly issues with hospital pharmacy, which did not appear to be as positively regarded as community pharmacy. And people did tell us about, again, the lack of stock and communication between pharmacy and hospital departments causing problems for people, which again might contribute to the negative experiences that they were having. So that was the work we did on hospital pharmacy. What we've done is then to collect, because there's nothing quite like real stories from people. Numbers are all very well, but you need to hear from people. And we talked about, on the left, people's experiences of community pharmacy and using the same pharmacy every time you get to know the people. I think we would all sympathise with that. Going to the fourth one down, it can have very long queues. And that is, again, something that we heard 1 or 2 times, and the closure of community pharmacies is not helping with that. More community pharmacies closed in Rugby, for example, than everywhere else in Warwickshire combined. So there are particular problems, but I do enjoy my local pharmacy is brilliant. And I did sympathise with, I've not got a smartphone. I have to ask my daughter to deal with it. I did sympathise with that, I have to say. If I get stuck, I always ask my son. And about hospital pharmacy, again, the issues we've already talked about, staff member not being able to find the prescription given to them by the dermatology team. So that bit about communication between departments seems to feature on a fairly regular basis. And there are 2 queues, one to hand in your prescription and the other to collect it, and you can wait in both queues. So those are the findings, Chair, and I'll leave those up so people can read them for themselves. If there are any questions about that, then I'm very happy to discuss that, and indeed any other issue related to health and care across the county of Warwickshire. But if people still want to give their comments about pharmacy, then we'd be very pleased to hear them, Chair.
Thank you, Chris. So does anyone have any immediate questions with regards to the work that we've been doing on Warwickshire pharmacies? If not, I'm not aware of any other business.
We've got a hand from Yinka.
Ah, that's fine. Is it actually in the chat or a hand?
No, it's a hand raised.
Would you like to ask your question then? Sorry, I've only got a limited view.
That's fine. Thank you very much, Liz, and thank you very much, Chris, for sharing the pharmacy findings. It's quite interesting. I'm actually tuning in from Healthwatch Croydon. I saw your advert on the Eventbrite and I thought to just tune in, and I'm glad I'm here. Talking about the pharmacy project, Healthwatch Croydon also is actually looking to do something similar. And I think what kind of like interested me was the fact that you looked at it from 2 different angles, from the community aspect and also from the hospital aspect. And I just wanted to share, how many volunteers did you get involved? I mean, what sort of questions did you ask them? Were they long questions? Because when you go to, for example, we do, we do engagement at the hospitals, and we find it difficult to speak to people who are trying to get their medication at the hospital. So how engaging did you find such patients as to going to the community? You know, did you find any difficulties in asking them these access questions, and how many questions per se did you put together in your survey? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Yinka. What I'll do, I'll ask Deb if she will come in, because Deb did quite a bit of work on this report. And she's probably more familiar with that kind of detail than I am. Deb, are you able to help with this? Is Deb actually there?
She's definitely still here because she's working in the background. I'm wondering also whether this might be something that would be useful to take out of the AGM, because I'm going to talk on your behalf, Chris, but I'm sure we wouldn't have any issues with sharing a lot of the background and the work that we did on that with the Yinka.
Yes, Yinka, if you can leave your contact details with us, we'll get back in touch with you and talk through the the queries that you have. We're very happy to do that.
Thank you very much, Chris. Apparently,
Apologies.
Deborah has just shared her email address, so
She has.
I will do
Right.
mine as well. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, Deb was having problems with unmuting. I think it's because her screen's being used for
Yes.
multiple different
Yes.
things.
Yes. I've got Robin.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, for the report on pharmacy. I found this really interesting because I've done quite a bit of work myself on pharmacy in relation to the PPG that I'm on, that I think you're aware of.
Yes.
The feedback on the hospital pharmacies in particular, on the Walsgrave UHCW and on Swift Warwick Hospital is very, very negative. I mean, majority negative, just seems to me. George Eliot as well. Just seems, really eye-wateringly worrying, really, I find it. Have you shared that with the two hospitals, and have you had any reaction, or have they said anything about what they might do about it?
Yeah, we've only just put together this report, and we will be talking to a range of stakeholders about it on an informal basis. I think what I always say to people when we produce this kind of report is that people don't come to Healthwatch when things are going well, and you have to put it in that context. I think people come to us when they've experienced some difficulty, and if you ask a whole range of everybody who'd ever used hospital pharmacy, it might not look like this. But what we are saying is that there are a number of issues that contribute to this negative perception. And it's worth the hospitals looking at those things. The key one for me is communication. Because I think the NHS and local government, and indeed the whole of society, has real trouble with communication. And it's about being able to communicate with people in the right way and at the right time, so that they feel part of the process that they're engaged in. And I've often said this in relation to delays. If you keep people informed while they're waiting, then it is less stressful for them to be part of that waiting process, because they're kept informed about what's happening. So we will be sharing this on an informal basis and talking through what things they can do in response to this negative perception. So we will be doing that.
Thank you.
Any other questions on pharmacy that you can see, Chris? Because I'm sorry, I can't see people's hands. I'm on a tablet, and so it's quite a small screen. No?
Not that I can see, Chair.
Excellent, thank you. So item 7 is any other business. I'm not aware of any other business that's been mentioned, Chris. Are you aware of anything?
I've not been informed, Chair, no.
That's fine. Obviously, if there is something else, we're moving on to the question and answer stage of the AGM anyhow. So if you have any questions or comments, please raise your hands. I'm sure Chris will be able to see them, and we will go forward from there. Any questions, anybody, or comments?
Yeah, Ravi?
Hi, I'm from the George Eliot Hospital, so I've just recently started the job, well, Shabina's job. So I will take that back to our hospital and mention, because I don't know whether you guys are aware that we also do a volunteer service where we deliver patient medication as well. So we get a lot of good feedback from that, but I know that the feedback you guys have got is within the hospital, but I will also take that back as well.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thanks.
Yeah, just to say yes, because, we're not here to try and catch anyone out or to score a point. We're here to work with people to make things better for patients. And I know that's something that you share with us, Ravi. So
yeah.
We're very happy to work on that.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Can't see any, Chair.
Martha.
Oh, yes, sorry, Julia.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm Julia Wallace and I'm chair of the PPG at Arbury Medical Centre in Nuneaton.
mhm.
I only heard about this very recently, your organisation, via Chris Florence at Warwickshire County Council. He sends out an email across the community. Otherwise, I wouldn't know about it, and I've never visited your website before. So that's something I was doing now. So thank you for including me.
Well,
Thank you, Julia.
you're very welcome here, because PPGs have a vital role to play in keeping us abreast of what's happening in primary care in particular, general practice in particular, but also your experiences across the whole range of health and social care services is valuable for us.
And you're actually in my area anyhow, Julia. It's interesting, the profile of Healthwatch and Healthwatch Warwickshire, but actually Healthwatch England and all the individual Healthwatch is something that constantly raises its head. And it's not for want of trying to get that word out. The branding is a national branding, and we've often sort of said that it's something that we don't feel clearly sort of explains what we do. We are a very small team. We do believe that we have a big voice and we have a lot more that we could do. And for us, it's important that more people know about Healthwatch Warwickshire, the work that we do, and the difference and influence that we try and make on health and social care within Warwickshire. So, although it saddens me slightly, Julia, that you weren't aware of us, it doesn't actually surprise me. It is something that we're constantly met with, and we're constantly trying to sort of improve our profile and the brand of Healthwatch throughout the area. My voice is going, which is not good. Anything else?
Yeah, there's a hand up from Mary Claire.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, couldn't work out how to get off mute.
You're not the only one who's having that problem.
I'm a screen reader user, so it's a little bit. Just to say that if there's anything you want me to share, so I work for the RNIB, but I'm also a South Warwickshire resident, and I do keep an eye on your social media and stuff, and post anything relevant to our customers into our social media channels and stuff. But if there's anything else that you'd want me to share, just to maybe get a different demographic and the opinions of, you know, the blind and partially sighted community or their carers, then please do let me know. I'd be more than happy to help in any way I can.
Yeah, we'd quite like to have a more detailed conversation with you about the issues, so that we can actually highlight those issues to those who provide and commission services. So perhaps you can get in touch with us again and we can have that conversation.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm very close to your Leamington office, so happy to, you know, get in, you know, send you my email and stuff like that. Yeah.
Perhaps we could meet up for coffee or something.
That would be lovely. I'm always up for coffee. And me and my cheeky guide dog, who loves cleaning the floors of the local coffee shops.
That's superb. Thank you so much for that. Anything else?
Can't see anyone else, Chair.
No, that's fine. We will obviously publish the transcript from this meeting, and also one of the reasons for recording the meeting is to actually upload the recording of the meeting onto our website as well, so anyone who's not been able to attend can actually hear and or read the reports and get a better understanding about Healthwatch. If that is everything, thank you everybody for attending, and we will probably be back this time next year, and Chris and the team will be able to highlight more of the work that they do, helping to try and support people in health and social care within Warwickshire. Thank you so much for attending. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and we're nearly at the weekend, which is always good news. Thank you, everybody.
And we